As Nicola said, one of the things that came out of the work was that we made some ideas. There was a feeling that something had to be done on this, but we needed some practical groups to see how we could actually make it work. Give people some thoughts so they could do that. So what we decided to do was identify 3 councils and community planning partnerships where we could actually do that drilling down. We could look at what the sort of practical steps were we could take on that as well. So we looked at the City of Edinburgh Council, all quite different councils as well. City of Edinburgh, Large Urban Authority, Highlands, Rural Authority, size of Belgium, keep getting told. East Ayrshire Council, a smaller rural urban mix as well. So we could get some of these lessons, some of these ideas, some of these thinking from different perspectives, so we can see if we can work across different scenarios, different situations as well. And as Nicola said, the plan is what we'll do is next week, fingers crossed, we will be publishing the route map at a dissemination event, which I think is always sold out, which is good. And we'll also, after that, we're going to publish some case studies based on some of the discussions we've had with each of these authorities. And they've been really, really useful. When we talk to each authority, we employ consultants to do Dave Thompson and McLaren. They helped us out. Went in-depth interviews with the community planners, if you can use that term, and the spatial planners. And then we had a workshop, which was really useful, just teasing out some thinking, some thoughts, some ideas, and how we can take this forward. And as I say, to try really push, we had to get some practical steps. So we've got the route map, and that's it. You can see over there. It looks really complicated, doesn't it? That's because it is really complicated. And essentially, it's a simple concept that we'll try to do. If I can use this. The green boxes, sorry, the pink boxes at the bottom, are essentially what we're saying are your inputs. So what are the things that you can put into this to make it work more effectively? And they're quite simple things. It is the leadership stuff, it's the culture of your authority, it's what skill sets you have both as a spatial planner and a community planner. It's the resources which you have and which you can bring in, and it's the evidence base. So things like that, which are the sort of inputs which you put into things. The green bit is essentially the process and the different milestones you go through when you're developing a plan anyway. So it's the idea, and I'm going to talk about these in a minute, the idea of developing the strategy, engaging on that, consulting on it, publishing the plan, delivering that plan, hopefully, monitoring it, and then the loop goes back to the strategy again. And we'll look at what we thought was maybe at each of these different stages, there are certain things you can probably do to try and make that connection. And that's where the top bit comes in. And this idea of these are the sort of tools which you can use, the practical things which could be used to try and make that connection between the spatial and the community planning aspect of things. What I want to do just the rest of the presentation, just talk through sort of each of these stages in a wee bit of depth. And as I said, this might not work for you. It's not the one-size-fits-all approach, as Nicola said. These are just some ideas and thoughts, but maybe how you can get a bit more creative and think through how these things can be used and how you can promote them to a community planning partnership as part of your contribution to this work. So, the idea of developing a strategy, Nicola mentioned the really, really interesting stuff that's been going on in East Ayrshire for quite a considerable period, and I think that's important to bear that in mind. It's taking quite a long time to get to where they are. But this idea of having a sovereign plan, the community plan contains your single outcome agreements, but it's the plan which is the key thing that everyone in the council is tasked with delivering. Really, really important. And it's the sticker rock thing. It's a golden thread through everything which you do. And in talking to people like Carl, as Carl Doroshenko, as Nicola said, everyone knows where they fit, what they should be doing, where they contribute, what kind of things they should be working, who they should be working with to make this work as well. So it's all about trying to make sure as part of this you have that corporate leadership. It's absolutely key to everything in this. I think it's probably the most important part of it all, is having that context, that environment to take that forward, that corporate leadership, that culture, which means that everybody's signed up to this, everybody's signed up to this, this corporate plan, these corporate objectives. There's clarity on what you want to achieve, there's clarity of the objectives and the outcomes you're trying to achieve as well. And as I say, there's a recognition of who does what, of who contributes what has to work with one another, where the complementarity is. what people's strengths and weaknesses are they can bring or shouldn't bring to the table as well, how they can join things up. And also a bit about trying to stop some of the contradictions which inevitably be from creep in a corporate organisation. So that's really, really important, those that clarity, those responsibilities. But I think the important thing, the key message for this is, for us as planners, is that we've got to get away from the fact that the development plan is the thing that the council delivers. It's the software plan, and the development plan contributes to that. That's quite an important mindset change, I think, for many of us to think about. The second stage we talked about was engagement. I think one of the interesting things in this was that when we looked at the different types of engagement, the community planning side of it, they seem to be particularly good at stakeholder engagement. They had a status, they had a cachet, which meant they could pull people together. They were very good at linking organisations about drilling people in to do different things. They were the key partners, they were the corporate element of this as well. So they could bring together different sectors, different organisations, different interests, different disciplines. And use that team in different ways and utilise it. Whereas, as Nicola said, from the planning side of things, that wasn't always a strength, that corporate side of things. But conversely, when you look at community engagement, it was seen that community planning isn't always as good as that as it can be, but it was without a strength of spatial planning. And there's lots of tools and techniques and things which you can use. We've heard about Charrette Plus and Charrettes and different things which you do. But sometimes they were done just for the development plan. Should we be thinking about how we can synchronise these things a bit more cleverly? How we can make it work much better and get away from the consultation fatigue which we've heard about already today as well. And a key part of this is thinking about how you can fit it all together, how you can synchronise these different processes. We appreciate, and everyone we talked to appreciated their different time frames, their different lifetimes for plans, but they thought there was still some way we can join together some of these processes and pull together some corporate intelligence, because I don't know if you go and do a charrette, how much of that is shared with people in social work or whatever. Trying to create this corporate intelligence and use it much more effectively. There's something that we're trying to do that as well. And we've seen that, as I say, we've seen some of the charrettes that Peter's already mentioned, and we've also seen some really interesting techniques, but sort of sharing them, synchronising them, and thinking about how they could work quite effectively as well. The other sort of quite important thing with this was this idea of a call for ideas, a call for sites, and a call for assets. Just now, when you go through the really initiatives report, or you go through the development plan process, there is mostly about a call for sites, aimed very much at the private sector. Shouldn't that be something which is aimed much more internally from the planning partnership? Look at the assets which you have, look at the thinking, the thoughts which you have as well, to make it a much more rounded document. So there's something about changing that and trying to connect the investments that might come in, or the resources or the assets which you have from both the private and the public sector. So try to get that connection, I think is important. And the idea of publishing a plan, as Nicola said, one of the things that came out is, no surprise, there's lots of plans out there. But we weren't saying we should go away and just create one big plan for everything. I think there was a recognition that different plans have different roles to play. But there was a need to try and make sure that they all pulled the same direction. They all work towards this sovereign plan idea. There had to be this readability across plans as well. They need to support one another, rather than contradict one another. And in many ways what we'll be talking about is, can the development plan become almost a spatial articulation of the community plan? One of the criticisms I've always had of community planning is that it tends to deal in programmes and budgets and themes, and it doesn't think about how things hit the ground in a spatial way. If we can connect this a bit better, we can actually bring the spatial and the thematic together, which should hopefully bring some economies of scale and some more joined up and coordinated action, different things as well. I think the other important thing about this, and Colin mentioned this, is we need to think about this at different levels. We look at different plans. As Colin said, I think as a profession we're actually very good at thinking this sort of vertical. Think about how you need to think about some things at a strategic level, some at a local level, some at a community level, some at a national level as well. We can bring that thinking in. There's a real feeling within Scottish Government and a move towards having much more locality planning. We wonder if there's a real opportunity there for planning to involve that. I think that's the thing that Colin was talking about earlier, where we can get involved and think about how we actually actually make that difference in communities. I suppose as part of that, one of the things that came out was planning can add most, so spatial planning can add most value to this. And we're talking about those places and those areas where there's actually going to be more change. In many ways, what we deal with most of the time is managing and promoting change. Whereas the community plan doesn't always think of that, it's almost a statement of what's there. So there's maybe somewhere we can focus on our input to things in terms of the action and the change which is taking place. And as part of that, I think one of the things we thought was interesting was how we can use action programs. I'm going to talk about that. And that's a bit about how we deliver and then how we monitor that delivery as well. You'll know more than me how the criticism of development plans is that they are dreams and don't actually deliver anything. There's a need to try and make sure we focus the vision in the development plan with some resources. And community plans in many ways are about allocated resources, so this connection could actually make delivery much more effective and much more likely as well. And then what it could do is it could help match the ambitions in the development plan with resources which are within the community plan. But what it could also do, interestingly, is make the community plan think about some of the ambitions and the resources which the development plan goes into the private sector. Because community plans can be quite public sector focused. So this may bring another link to it as well. And as part of that, we did a good discussion at the round table about, is there something around the action programme? If we're talking about things which are going to change, action programmes, what we're updating every 2 years, about how people are going to deliver things, who's responsible for what. Could that be something which is put more up front in the community planning process? Could that be something which is part of the updating and monitoring process, makes us a greater focus on where resources are, where we can get the resources and where we can use the resources, and have that discussion about where resources should go and how they should go spatially as well as thematically as well. And again, what that would do, through doing that, updating, that monitoring, having those discussions, it provides a real input into the sovereign plan again. So something about action programme, I think there's some potential in there, teasing out, maybe we could perhaps do that. So that's the some of the sort of hooks and things we've come up with. Be interested to hear your thoughts on them. As I said at the start, this is in many ways the start of the process rather than the end of it. Because what we've done is we've come up with some thoughts and ideas, we've seen there's a demand and a desire to do something on this. But there's two bits to it for me. One is the route plan, the route map has to be something which evolves over time, and people have to test some of the ideas within it and see if there's value in some of the proposals we've got in there. If there's not, or if there are other ideas and other tools and techniques and things which we do, which can put into it. So that's important, that's a bit of a live document. I think the other thing about this is if we are going to make that link between spatial and community planning, it will require something of culture change and change across organisations. So this is in many ways part of this exercise, is to start that conversation with lots of people. So we want to make sure that we won't just publish this on Thursday and that'll be it. It's good to talk to people like yourselves at Oxford. It's good to think about how we can take that forward. We need to talk to COSLA, we need to talk to Scottish Government, and not just John and his colleagues in Scottish Government, but all different players involved in Scottish Government on this as well. And we can talk to people at Solace and others who have had an influence on this as well. So it's very much the start of the discussion. We don't think it's perfect, but hopefully it starts to focus the mind on some of the things that we can.